Part 2. The cover-up begins. 7. The silent meeting in Chaumont. October 6, 1918. AEF Headquarters, Chaumont, France. General Pershing did not like unexplained things, and an entire American battalion disappearing without a trace was beyond unexplained. It was unacceptable. A cold rain hammered the roof of the command hut as Pershing sat at the head of a long table. 12 senior officers were present, including intelligence chiefs and signal corps specialists. Colonel Whitmore, the intelligence chief, stood first. "We have 3 eyewitness scouts. All give nearly identical accounts." Pershing didn't look up. "And?" Whitmore hesitated. "They report a phenomenon in the valley. A light, fog movement, a noise." "Not possible." A brigadier snapped. "Some German device." Whitmore slammed a folder onto the table. "This was no German device. They saw no enemy. They heard no gunfire. There are no bodies, no tracks, no equipment left behind. It's as if the battalion was lifted off the ground." Pershing finally looked up from his papers. "Lifted?" he repeated, voice icy. "Are you suggesting supernatural involvement, Colonel?" "No, sir." Whitmore stiffened. "But the facts don't align with any enemy action." Pershing's stare hardened. "Then create facts that do." The room fell silent. Pershing's voice lowered. "That battalion did not vanish. They were cut off, surrounded, and captured by the Germans. That will be the report." A younger officer tried to protest. "But, sir, there is no evidence of—" Pershing slammed his fist on the table. "Evidence," he growled, "is whatever keeps American morale alive." Everyone fell silent. Pershing stood. "No one is to speak of fog, light, sound, or disappearance. This battalion died bravely in service, and that is the history that will be written." He walked to the door, paused, and added quietly, "Burn the scouts' statements." "8. The scouts pay the price." Private Aaron Lasker. Corporal Joe Hennings. Private First Class Arthur Wells. 3 young men who saw too much. The next morning, they were summoned to a field tent. Major Redding greeted them with a forced smile. "Gentlemen, we appreciate your service. For your statements, you will be reassigned." Lasker frowned. "Reassigned where, sir?" Redding didn't answer. 2 military policemen stepped in behind him. "You will be transferred to secure duty, effective immediately." "What about what we saw?" Lasker asked quietly. Redding's eyes hardened. "You saw nothing." Wells swallowed nervously, but the fog... Redding leaned closer. "Son, I don't care if the fog turned into Abraham Lincoln and recited the Declaration of Independence. You saw nothing." Hennings clenched his jaw. "Sir, with respect, you will be reassigned, and you will not speak of this again." The MPs escorted them away. Within 24 hours, Lasker was reassigned to a remote radio post 40 miles from the front. Hennings and Wells were transferred to munitions transport convoys. None of them ever saw each other again, and none ever spoke publicly of the Shalove Valley. Not because they forgot, but because they understood the threat hidden in the major's words. You will not speak of this again. 9. Emma's Research, a name that doesn't exist. 2019, Charlottesville, Virginia. Emma Caldwell sat in a quiet corner of the university library, the 1918 letter spread open in front of her. Her grandfather's grandfather, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob R. Caldwell, had left a warning. That part was clear. But what disturbed her wasn't the letter. It was what she didn't find. She typed 313th Reconnaissance and Signal Battalion into the digital archive. No results. She tried again. Nothing. She tried broader searches. 313th Battalion, World War I. Charlevoix Valley, U.S. Army. Lost American Unit, 1918. Every query returned 0 matches. Finally, she typed, frustrated, Lieutenant Colonel Jacob Caldwell, World War I. The search returned 1 line. No record found. Emma stared at the screen in confusion. How can an entire battalion not exist? She whispered. The voice of Professor Daniel Armitage, a historian of World War I who often helped students, spoke behind her. Trouble finding something? Emma looked up. Actually, yes, a record that should be here isn't. Armitage smiled politely. Happens all the time. What unit? Emma hesitated. She had promised herself to trust no one, exactly like the letter said. But she needed help. The 313th Reconnaissance and Signal Battalion, she said. Armitage's smile faded. His expression changed, subtly, but she noticed. Interesting, he said quietly. I haven't heard that unit mentioned in a long time. You know it? Emma asked. Armitage nodded slowly. It's a ghost unit, he said. The Army erased almost every record related to it. Her heart began to race. Why? Armitage looked around, lowering his voice. Because whatever happened to them was never meant to be part of American history. 10. The German File That Shouldn't Exist. October 1918, Trier, Germany Intelligence HQ. Major Dieter Schaefer, of German Army Intelligence, stared at the encrypted message in disbelief. It came from a frontline observer post near the same valley the American battalion had entered. The message read, Enemy forces entered the Charlevoix Valley at dawn. Fog intensified beyond normal conditions. Observed light emission of unknown origin. Enemy formation disappeared. No contact engagement recorded. The German High Command thought it was a joke. Major Dieter Schaefer did not. He pulled out an earlier file, one he had investigated months before. A British platoon had vanished in a different valley under nearly identical conditions, and before that, a French squadron. Schaefer rubbed his temples. This is not a coincidence, he muttered. Something moves with the fog. He assembled a small 3-man team and filed a request to investigate the Charlevoix Valley. The request was denied. Too dangerous, the general wrote. Stay clear. Armistice negotiations are nearing. But Major Schaefer ignored the order. He and his 3-man team left that night. 2 days later, only Schaefer returned. He refused to speak of what happened. He never filed a report, and in 1921, he disappeared from Berlin. His personal case file contains one final note written in his own hand. The Americans were not taken by us. The valley is not a battlefield. It is a threshold. 11. The First Marker. 2019, Virginia. Emma examined the letter again. Find the 3 markers. Markers of what? She unfolded the letter fully, noticing for the first time a faint imprint on the back, almost invisible, like something once pressed against the paper. She held the sheet up to the desk lamp. Slowly, shapes emerged. 3 symbols. Carved, angular, repeating. They weren't military markings. They weren't geography symbols. They weren't any language she recognized. She took a photo and ran it through an OCR identification tool. The results surprised her. Match found, partial. Neolithic petroglyph pattern, southeastern France region. Her breath caught. Why would a World War I American officer reference a symbol used last 5,000 years ago? She zoomed in on one symbol, a spiral funnel shape. At the bottom of the photo was a faint handwritten note. Marker 1 is near the ridge where the scouts stood. Emma whispered, the ridge. The exact place the scouts saw the battalion vanish. She sat back. This wasn't just about finding what happened. It was about retracing the path, a path someone didn't want anyone to follow. Part 2 end. Ready for Part 3. Next parts will include Emma's journey to France, the discovery of the first marker and what it activates, Major Schaefer's missing diary, the return of a man who disappeared in 1918, the scientific analysis that terrifies modern physicists, the true purpose of the 313th Battalion, the long-buried truth about the valley. Just say